Enlighten me, please.
Okay, we're broadcasting now. So now I go to screen share and we share. And then you got to get back.
You signed me out. Now no one gets the slides. That's fine. I actually sent out the view link, so it's good.
Okay.
I don't need to edit these.
And
I
now,
don't think I do. I haven't read
and
them
now,
in like 2 weeks.
and now you're sharing it and it's recording, and so you're good now.
I'm good now?
You're good, Chris. Go ahead.
All right. In view only. 100%. Just represent. That was easy. All right. We had some technical difficulty, but I think we're good. Technical difficult. This is the Git and GitHub workshop. Thank you all for coming. Turn the lights brighter. I'll try.
Yes, the brighter thing.
It's brighter.
I need you to shine brightly down real quick.
Does that help?
No. Make sure to send out the link to the presentation. There we go.
Do you want what?
Make sure to send out the link to the Google Hangouts.
Did you not just do that for me?
I thought you were adult enough.
I don't think I am. Oh God. I'm going in circles. Is this the link?
No.
No. The Hangouts link.
What do you mean the Hangouts link?
Is there a hangout?
This link.
Yeah, that thing.
I thought we were done with this one. How do I share it?
Go up to the top where there's that web address.
This one.
Yes.
All right. Begun screen. All right.
Control C, Control V.
Control Z.
Man presents on GitHub workshop.
Can you start presentation? Put it in the Gatees one.
All right. Is this good for the lights?
Put it in the Gatees one too.
What do you mean put it in the Gatees one?
Put it in the Gatees one too.
No, we don't know where they are.
Why do we have so many slacks?
Why?
Why do I have so many slacks?
Yourself, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Amanda, why do we have so many slacks?
Because you're not supposed to have a second slack.
I don't want them to know that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, so now it's presented,
All right, now we can present.
and by editing magic, all of that will be gone.
All right, here's what we're going to go over tonight. We're going to set up how to use Git and GitHub. Does anyone not have a GitHub account currently in the room? All right, we'll go through that, so don't worry. Then we're going to go over kind of how to use Git. It's a command line tool, and it's very, very well matured. There's a lot you can do with it, so we'll probably only glance it. And then we'll use the GitHub desktop interface for it, which I can't actually run on this computer, so that'll be fun. Yeah, and we'll just go through how to basically make a repository, contribute to it, and then send it back up to GitHub. And then we'll go over how we're going to use GitHub with the CubeCats Club. The CubeCats Club. All right, so if you don't have Git downloaded and you're on Windows, you just go to Windows and Mac, actually. You just go to gitscm.com. If you're on Linux, you probably already have it or you know how to get it. So any Unix system, really. And when you install it for Windows, it actually includes the Linux Bash shell, which is like a command line that isn't bad. It comes with things that you usually need when you're doing software, like SSH. SSH is good. All right. I hear lots of clicking, so I'm just going to assume you're installing it.
Would you recommend using Git only from Git Bash?
Yes. The default options on the installation are good, so just use those. Is anybody still installing? All right, I'll wait a little bit longer. Is everyone good then? Is anyone still installing? All right. So the next part of the setup is to create a GitHub account if you don't already have one. If you don't have a GitHub account and you want to make one, I recommend using your full first and last name as your username. It just looks a little bit better if you ever want to use your GitHub on your resume and show potential employers what you've done. Yeah, and also use your mail.uc.edu address when you first sign up, because then you get a little bit more features out of GitHub. Yeah. And there's a github.uc.edu that's not the same website. Yeah. Yep.
Public?
That's public. What? Did I misspell something?
No.
It's also, it is?
It's just clear, like, well, what is it? It's more professional and it's also public.
Yeah, just about all the work you'll publish to GitHub will be public and it'll have your name on it. So it's usually good to not be, yeah. There are probably certain words you shouldn't use as your GitHub username. You have a question? Oh, just go to github.com, or actually education.github.com. Let me. I might already be signed in. Oh. Just click get the pack. Get your pack. My pack. I don't want that. Maybe not. I think I'm already signed in. Yeah, that's not going to work. Does anyone else at this screen did not see where to sign in or create an account? A little less. Looks like they changed it. Did is the little form.
Do you, so for the first, okay. Do you do maybe an underscore?
Mine's just Christopher Morrison, one word.
There's just one word.
Yeah, let me sign back.
So we got here.
It's not case sensitive, so you don't have to worry about that. And I think you already have a GitHub account.
Well, we don't have that.
You find your GitHub account? I found it once.
I need to.
I don't think I'll find it again.
We don't need to.
Uh-oh, what's my password? It's fine. I didn't put a password that time. There we go. Is everyone good on the account then? Or is anyone still going through? All right. Now, there's a tool called GitHub Desktop, which is just desktop.github.com is the download for that. It's a little bit easier to start using GitHub if you're using the GitHub Desktop client, but it's only available for Windows and Mac. It's actually not available for Linux operating systems. So
That seems sort of backwards.
it does. It seems really backwards, but I don't. Ashton, we just installed Git for Windows and then made a GitHub account.
Okay.
But you have multiple operating systems, so just do whatever you want.
So it's telling me to get a desktop. It's going to take like half an hour to download, so I would recommend just,
Keep going.
unless I'm the only outlier.
We're almost done.
It's not that big of a file.
It's only taking
Yeah, mine
9
10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, read. All right. And then if you guys want, there's an IDE called Visual Studio Code that's pretty neat to use. Microsoft publishes this, but it's open source, and it really cleanly integrates with Git and GitHub. So this one's optional, though, so you don't have to do it for the workshop. All right. This looks like this. Is anyone still doing that? When you download it, once you install it, you have to sign in. It should set everything up for you. Has it been 30 minutes yet?
No, it didn't fall.
All right, that's fine. All right. Is anyone still setting anything up, or can we proceed? All right. Except for Reeve, we'll just continue. All right. First of all, what is Git? Git is a source control manager. That means anything you can create, usually it's used with software, anything you can create will be tracked in discrete segments of work. And you can share these work segments with other people. And the idea is when you write to a file, someone else can also write to that file, and then you can merge your work together and not have it blow up in your face. Although sometimes that happens. So just about every engineering field will use some version of source control, if not Git itself. There are even source control versions that are only for like Word documents. So those are fun. How do you use Git? Well, Git's actually a command line tool, and we're not going to go too far into that. ACM at UC actually has a really good presentation on how to use the command line side of Git, but we're going to try to stay out of that. And if you're really curious to learn that, something might go wrong, and the Git flight rules are a neat little guide on what to do when things go horribly wrong with Git. So I use them almost every day. All right, so this is kind of a funky chart, but basically with Git, you have a local repository and then a remote repository. Your remote refers to any repository that's not actually the one you're working on. So in our case, remote will typically be github.com. So you have your remote repository and all of the work that it tracks, and then you work on your local repository, save that work into chunks, and then share it and pull from the remote repository. Yeah. So you make your local edits, you stage those changes, and then you commit everything you've staged into a commit. It's a chunk of work. And then you synchronize with the repository, and then you continue this process until your project succeeds or you can't physically continue anymore. For GitHub, everyone has their account, right? So if everyone wants to go ahead and create a new repository, there's just a big green button when you sign in. I'll do it too. Maybe. I don't know what screen it's on. You can just fill out what you want to call it. So I'll call mine demo repository. Repository for demo. I spelled that wrong. And then if you have GitHub student pack, you should see a private option here. That's optional. That's exactly what it sounds like. And then you should pretty much almost always start your repository with a README if you're making it in GitHub. Unless you're migrating it over from a different source control manager, you probably do want that. All right. And then it's going to take us to this nice screen that shows us our repository and all of its tracked files, which is currently nothing except for the README right now. All right. So the next step is to clone. Really zoom in. Next step is to clone your repository into GitHub Desktop. You just open GitHub Desktop and select clone, and then you put in the URL. Or actually on Windows, the new version of GitHub Desktop, which is what you should all have, you can actually go straight to github.com and then click clone, the big button in your browser. It should work. Yeah, maybe. I think this one. Nope. Somewhere there's a button that does it. So you just go to GitHub for Desktop and put that little URL in. Back here. Yeah, this one. Maybe. Nope, this one. And then I don't have GitHub for Desktop on, so I'm just going to do it manually. Everyone have the repository created and cloned? Yeah? All right. So if you open up your repository folder, it should be a folder on your computer now. You can actually add in a text file, and it should show you that it's been created. You can make any kind of change, actually. So let me open this. Here's my repository folder. You would just go through GitHub Desktop and say Open Repository Folder. Should be a big button. I can say Create New. We'll make a C++ program. Hello.cpp. Include something. That's not right. So we can just write our programs in here, and then when we save it, it should. Yeah. Hello. All right. When we go back into Git, we should see the new file change on there in GitHub. And then it should show you what you've changed on there. So I don't have it, but I'll do git diff. I call that file. Hello. But it shows me I have my new file on there, and it's not added. So we went GitHub to Git to track that file. We have to first commit it. So first thing you should do is stage it by clicking. I think it's that little icon right there. I haven't opened it for a while. And then you just have to write a summary and description of your commit before you make it. That way other people know what your work is. So I'll just do this in command line. Added a file. All right. So is everyone done to commit on a file? Yeah. All right. So if we go back to GitHub, we can see that our commit has not actually shown up in GitHub. It's still on our local machine, and we have to send it back up. Still pushing. So we've added a file, we've committed it, and now we have to push it back to the remote. So I don't think I have a picture of how to do this. There should be a button somewhere in GitHub Desktop that says push to remote. Somewhere. Probably should put a picture of it in.
Under repository, and just GitHub.
All right.
Desktop, like Control P.
So it's just under repository on GitHub Desktop. It should say push. It's probably the keyboard shortcut Control P. Yeah.
You can see the screen okay?
Yeah, can
Most people.
you guys see the screen okay? Not really?
I'm having difficulty seeing some of the colors.
All right. Where? Here?
Turn them.
Are these colors good? Which colors aren't good? I got a lot of dark colors and I got a lot of bright colors.
Dark colors are bad.
Dark colors are bad. All right, I'll change that real quick. That's not the one I want. That's probably too bright.
Yeah.
Is that one? I can make it larger.
It's like a lot of light in here.
Can you turn off all the lights? Yeah.
It's the only option this or.
What's the other option?
Yeah. It's
All right.
really dark.
Too dark.
It's not turning back on. All right. Sorry. All right. Is it big enough?
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
How's that? All right. So you can open Git Bash if you want to follow on the command line. I don't have Git Desktop, so pretty great way to give a workshop in GitHub Desktop. So just push your files. You gotta log in sometimes. Wasn't me. Cool. Now if we go back to our repository page on github.com and refresh it, you should see our new file. See, Christopher Morrison added a file. I did. That is the file. everyone following along? All right. So Git can actually do a thing called branching, which allows you to have multiple versions of the same thing on your desktop. This is kind of confusing. So I'll just show you. Branch. This is a branch. Right. So I can basically make an edit here, and then it will not show up in the master branch, which is the default branch. So I can just remove my file that I made. Add. Remove the file. All right. And then I can actually go back to my, not that one. This is the branch where I deleted the file. I can actually check out the other one. Check out master. The file's back because you can switch between the two branches.
Question.
Yeah.
So when you're merging, whatever branch you have made with the main repository, and say that you and another team member have both changed the same thing, and now there's a discrepancy, how is that typically resolved?
That's called a merge conflict. And basically, when you go back to merge all your files together, it will ask you which of the two versions you want to keep, or you can manually go in and say, I want this function, but not this function because I removed it in my file. So, yeah. It's kind of hard to show that if you're only one person, but
I was just curious.
yeah, we can actually show that if you want. If everyone wants to clone the version of the repository I made, actually moves into the next bit, I think. Oh, yeah, first of all, things not to put on GitHub. GitHub is obviously a very public website. Lots of people share things on it. So don't put sensitive information like usernames and passwords to your machines on it. And yeah, just things that you wouldn't put on your Facebook profile, don't put on GitHub. Yeah. Like, just don't put your password. Don't do it. Wesley, just don't do it. Don't give me that face. All right. Oh, we can just move into the GitHub. So we have a club GitHub account. It's an organization account. It's not quite the same thing as a person. We have a couple of things going on here now. Hopefully we'll have more soon. I'm going to sidetrack from this and actually show what Adam was talking about. So I don't think I actually included this in my slides, unfortunately. Nope, not that one. If everyone could go, don't look at the picture.
Taking the lab question mark? Yes, I see the International Space Station.
I don't want that. All right, so if everyone could go to github.com/Christopher Morrison, and then just go to repositories. Go ahead and click demo repository. All right. So instead of cloning it or downloading it, because none of you have direct write access to my personal repository, go ahead and click fork. You should see like some spaghetti and meatballs or something. Oh, okay. And so what that has done is it's taken a copy of this repository, put it under your account, and then linked my repository is that repository's remote. So it's kind of this chain. You can draw it. So this is my repository, Chris Morrison. And this is you, on GitHub. QG. And then you can clone that repository to ulocal. And this will be its remote. And then you can actually push from, you can request that I pull your changes from GitHub into my repository. That is called a pull request. So if you have this repository cloned on your desktop, just go ahead and make a commit.
Just to clarify, so you local is what you're working on
Yes,
on your laptop.
yes. When you have a Git repository, the folder itself is the entire repository. Each instance is a complete copy of the repository, and you can actually, if GitHub went away tomorrow, all the repositories you have on your computer would perfectly be fine. Although anything you didn't save probably wouldn't be.
It's all on your machine.
Yes. Yep. The folder is the entire history of the project. Yeah. You can go back to commit 1 if you want.
And then so when you make your changes to GitHub.
Yep.
And then
You commit your changes locally, and then you push them to GitHub. Yes. If you don't push your work, no one else can see it, and then they get upset. Yeah. All right. Has everyone made a local commit to the demo repository that they forked? No? All right. Please do. I feel like I can fork this. I can fork into CubeCats. Oh, I don't want to do that. All right. So go ahead and push your local changes to this cloned repository back up to your GitHub account, and then look at your repository. I think you just do pull requests. Hey, someone did it. Rob knows what he's doing. Right. I think you actually go, once you push it back to my account, and then you look at my repository, and you say, new pull request. You're going to ask me to pull the code changes that you have made. And just go ahead and send me whatever you did. I want it all. I'm going to do Rob first. Let's see. Let's do a code review. No description provided. Jeez, Rob. Where's the update?
There's no description.
There's no description, Rob. How can I see what you changed? You didn't. Wait, did you? I'm a master coder. Okay. I'm gonna make it a plus. What's this do? Oh, I can leave a comment. Are you though? All right. So when you create a pull request, I have the option of including the changes you've made into my local repository. But I can also just make fun of you. So it's always a good option. I go back to pull requests. All right. So this is how you would contribute work to a open source project that you don't have direct control over.
Wait, when you hit, so if I hit new pull request,
Yeah.
that goes to you.
Is it on my page?
It's in the demo repository
Is it under Christopher Morrison or Adam Adams?
under Adam Herman or Chris Morrison.
Just click it, see what happens.
Okay.
It might.
Maybe try to refresh it. Yeah, they did.
Guess not.
Oh, yeah. Now I did this too. Now I actually did it.
Hey. I know another Adam Herman on GitHub.
That's interesting.
All right.
So, Chris, can you hear me?
Can you click on it? I want to see. what I thought was the description was, yeah,
Aha.
that was my description.
So your file's changed. Hell yeah, I do.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Where does it go to from there? Merge pull request.
Do this.
But it should show up on the actual one now. Yeah. Sweet.
And it sends me a just an email. Says you approved the pull request.
Okay. So if I go in here and just delete the entire file, and then someone makes a pull request, could have a conflict. I don't want to do that. Oh, nothing into this file. Hit status. Status. Stash. Status. -m. Removed contents of file. One day I'll remember
Chris,
my
I have a
password.
question from Rob.
Yeah.
So Rob wants to know that you approved a change, but can anyone try to anyone try to edit any of your files that are marked public for approval, and then you have to go through and approve them?
Yes, if you have a public repository on GitHub, anyone else can fork that and make changes locally. And then if they make a pull request, so if they're asking me to pull in their code, if I own the repository, then I can, what was the question again?
Can anyone,
Yeah, anyone can do it. It's public.
but if it's private, only people,
If it's private, it's typically the only people who are going to contribute to it have been directly shared on the repository.
Okay.
So I have one that has all my homework on it, and I've let like 1 or 2 people look at it, and they can make direct changes, and I don't have to do a pull request because they have direct write access. So that you can actually, here, I'll just do it here. You go to settings, collaborators, and then you can just type people in. Adam, here, what is his name? Is this you, Adam?
Yeah.
You're this little box with 3 other boxes. All right. So if I add Adam, it'll send him an email. It'll say, do you actually want to be on this repository? And then if he says yes, then he basically can do everything but delete that repository. And you can delete all the files, but I can just undo it.
And so the
Yeah, go ahead and make a change.
pull, all the pulling, committing and pushing to the repository does not require your approval.
If it comes from you, it does not,
Yeah.
because I've added you as a collaborator.
Okay, so for our project structures.
Yeah, let me get
what's
into that.
Like, we decided which route we're gonna go.
So if we're going back to our club account,
Yeah.
there's these things called teams, which are basically work groups. And I think I'm in all of them because I created all of them. Probably not the best way to do it. But let's see.
That Chris repeat.
Yeah,
It's just Chris.
it's just me, Adam. I'm lonely.
You can have it.
All right, so I can actually treat this entire team as one collaborator and say you have full write and read access to this repository. Or I can give a team, you can actually have a private repository as a club, and then you can give teams read-only access. So they can read it, but they cannot make changes to it. But I'm not sure if they can fork it.
You don't know if they can fork it.
I've never tried that. Yeah. So I think we just have our one repository on here for the meetings archive, which I definitely need to update. I'm a little bit behind on that one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like sidetrack your meeting or your workshop.
No, this is good. Just, does anyone else have any questions? No? All right. Yeah. Where's me? Who am I? Where am I? There are 10 commits already. 10 branches. 10 forks. I changed something by Alex. Well, I deleted everything, so. There's no merge conflicts, but how does one use Git? Just like that. All right.
So I know we're talking about using GitHub for things outside of actual code. How does GitHub work with things like Word documents and files?
For, I think, docs and docx, it might be able to display doc, but let me just show you.
It cannot display documents.
Nope, cannot display
Or
docx.
PDFs.
Sometimes, maybe. It can display some files, but not others, and it's just kind of an arbitrary decision.
Can you
So-
even if you can't display it, can you still download it and
Yes.
then re-push it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But there is this neat little format called Markdown, which is like a really fancy text file. So this is one right here. This is the readme.md. Will always display right here in your respective folder. And if we look at this, if we look at it raw, this is just a header. So it's the pound sign, and then it says demo repository. And then under that, it just says in plain text, repository for demo. I don't have my folder open anymore. It's very large.
I guess agree with like those kind of Word document stuff. Probably just want to make sure we change log.
We could do everything in Markdown.
Everything Markdown is pretty great. So I can do, if you do more pound signs, the Markdown gets progressively smaller, but it's still a header. I can do header 2. Markdown is displayed in github.com. Save. Bam, mini shell. Commit. -m update. Readme. Need an SSH key. Oh, didn't like that. So I've actually committed your changes since I have made my own commits. And it has not let me push anything back up to GitHub until I pull your changes down.
And that's to make sure that the revisions on github.com or the cloud are the same as on your local repository.
Yeah.
So it's saying before you start uploading stuff, make sure they're the same and pull it back down.
Yeah, so you changed the text of the function, but I removed the entire contents of the file. So this should be interesting.
Okay, okay. So
Fetch.
what happened?
Yeah.
Which one?
Let me do this
It was one
graphically.
of those weeks.
Okay, let's do break. So look here. This is Visual Studio Code, and you can see when you download, when you fetch the change, it'll say, it'll split it in half. It'll say, this is what the current remote is at. It says Chris eats Italian meatballs with ketchup, which is really insulting, by the way. And then it'll show me what the local stuff is below it, but I deleted the entire contents of the file. So you actually have to, I'm insulted. You actually have to delete these lines and then manually fix. Doesn't eat. All right. And then state changes? Yes. No. All right. Yeah. So then you stage your merges and you push those back. Just call these merge. So push. Remember my password. So here you can see where I committed the change to the README file, and then you should be able to see, oh shoot, I messed up. All right. So I guess I did it wrong, but that's what it looks like if you do it wrong. It'll say head and then your hash name of your commit.
I have a question from Rob. Can you run code directly in GitHub, or do you always have to?
You always have to download it.
locally?
Yeah, you cannot run code directly in GitHub, but you can download code directly from GitHub and then run that.
Right. So you're going to need some sort of third-party IDE to run the code in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can just use like Notepad if you're super pro.
Notepad++.
Yeah. Use some Vim. I don't use Vim. All right.
Quick question. How would we manage changes on something like let's say we took an Autodesk file, right? Whatever format that was.
Are those STLs?
Probably not. Like, no, but it could be. We were committing, so we were changing the CAD model, right? How you would really have like a change log in the document,
So
or could we read?
here's a file type that GitHub can open.
Sorry, I was Rob.
Oh,
It should be whatever chunk of changes you save at once. I have no idea what that would look like
yeah.
in terms of like displaying it. It might just be a little divot and then not a divot. It's whatever you change on it. But if you need to undo something, there is a command for that, and it's in the Git flight rules.
Okay.
So
I guess the point I'm just like trying to get across is that I don't see a way of intuitively tracking the changes. There's no software where we can see what's being changed. And it's not a Word document with like a change log. So we probably have to be pretty strict on comments.
Yeah.
For what we changed.
Yeah, you probably have to give a pretty lengthy message.
Okay.
Like, I changed this, and then in your comment, this is exactly what I changed.
Is there like a checked out by function in GitHub for something like
No.
3D model? 'Cause, you know, a bunch of people go in and make changes on that. We go to merge it.
I honestly have no idea how that would work with a 3D model.
Just food for thought, I guess.
I guess so. It's interesting though.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just continue with the slides then, because my
Sorry.
existence is torn apart. Yeah, so we have a UC CubeCats GitHub organization. If you want to request to join, just go to github.github/UC CubeCats and click requests. And then we can put you into your correct teams. If you don't have direct access to a repository and you need to make changes, you can just go ahead and fork it from the repository and then pull in your changes later. Or do a merge request or pull request. Yeah, fork if you don't have access and you do need it. That's about it. Just remember, everything on there is public, and once you push to the club repositories, it does represent the club. So don't do anything inappropriate, please. Yeah.
What do you request to join?
I don't know. It was a while ago. Send me an email. I'm in the request form. I don't know. It says you can request access, but that's something else, isn't it? Yeah. If you need access to the GitHub, just send me a message over Slack with your GitHub profile URL. So mine is GitHub/Christopher Morrison. Just do whatever your URL is. All right. And for licensing open source work that we do, because we are trying to contribute back to the open source satellite community, we decided it would probably be best just use the MIT license for just about everything, because that lets people use our code and then not have to worry about paying us royalties or anything. Yeah. So there are other licenses available if you want to investigate them. Just talk to exec board and me before creating a repository through the club account that's not using MIT license. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Do we want to see anything with GitHub? No?
I got all my questions out.
All right. I guess we're done then. Thank you. How do I end this call?